They shall make an ark of acacia wood, God commanded Moses in the book of Exodus, after delivering the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. And so the Israelites built an ark, or chest, gilding it inside and out, and into this chest Moses placed the stone tablets inscribed with the 10 Commandments, as given to him on Mount Sinai. According to the first book of Kings, King Solomon built the first temple in Jerusalem to house the ark. It was venerated there during Solomon's reign and beyond. Then it vanished. Much of Jewish tradition holds that it disappeared before or while the Babylonians sacked the temple in Jerusalem in 586 BC. But through the centuries, Ethiopian Christians have claimed that the ark rests in a chapel in a small town of Axum, in our country's northern highlands. It arrived nearly 3,000 years ago, they say, and has been guarded by a succession of virgin monks who, once anointed, are forbidden to set foot outside the chapel grounds until they die. The story is told that the Queen of Sheba, one of Ethiopia's first rulers, traveled to Jerusalem to partake of King Solomon's wisdom. On her way home she bore Solomon's son, Menelik. Later Menelik went to visit his father, and on his return journey stole the ark and carried it to Ethiopia, where it remains to this day. Thus the title of our trip, In Search of the Lost Ark of the Covenant. Crowned by high and magnificent mountains and watered by majestic lakes, Ethiopia is a land of 700-year-old churches carved entirely out of rock, towering obelisks, and the Ark of the Covenant. It is a land that was Christian before much of Europe, and yet unknown to Europe for thousands of years. For our adventure, we will be following the historic route through northern Ethiopia. Our first stop is Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia, where we will visit the 3-million-year-old fossil of Lucy. We next journey to the Blue Nile Falls, a major source of water for the Nile River, and then explore the monasteries along Lake Tanya. The journey's next stop is Gondor, one of the ancient capitals and site of Felicity's castle. We will next travel up into the Simeon Mountains for some magnificent scenery and a visit to the Galata baboons. The journey finally reaches Axum, the site of the Ark of the Covenant, and also we view some ancient stelae. We will next visit the amazing city of Lalibela and view 11 churches that were carved out of solid rock. Our last stop will be the ancient Muslim city of Harar, where we will watch in amazement the feeding of wild hyenas. We will start our show by introducing the adventurers on our Ethiopian Odyssey in search of the Lost Ark. Ethiopia uses the Ethiopian calendar, which dates back to the Coptic calendar. They never adapted the Julian or Gregorian reforms. One Ethiopian year consists of 12 months, each lasting 30 days, plus a 13th month of 5 or 6 days. Hence the 13 months of sunshine tourism slogan. The Ethiopian year begins on September 10th or 11th in the Gregorian calendar and has accumulated 7 or 8 years lag behind the Gregorian calendar. In Ethiopia, the 12-hour clock cycles do not begin at midnight and noon, but instead are offset 6 hours. Thus, Ethiopia refers to midnight or noon as 6 o'clock. All airline timetables are based on a 24-hour clock and use the Gregorian calendar. Everything is used. Here, cooking oil containers are made into flour sifters. Injera is Ethiopia's national dish. Injera is a spongy, tangy-tasting bread made from the grain teff, which is grown in the highlands of Ethiopia. It is eaten with wat, the traditional stews made with spices and meat or legumes. The injera sits directly on a large round plate or tray and is covered with wat, placed symmetrically around a central item. The various wats are eaten with other pieces of injera, which are served on a side plate. You rip a large piece of injera from the side plate and use it to pick up one of the various flavors of wat on the main platter. Cat is a natural and mildly intoxicating stimulant, which is chewed and has been consumed for centuries in many eastern and southern African countries, as well as on the Arab Peninsula. It is legal in Ethiopia. Some of the best cat is cultivated around Harar, and it's exported the same day by truck and plane to Djibouti and Somalia. Ethiopia's coffee ceremony is an integral part of their social and cultural life. In most parts of Ethiopia, the coffee ceremony takes place 3 times a day, in the morning, at noon, and in the evening. It is the main social event within the village and a time to discuss community, politics, life, and about who did what to whom. An invitation to attend a coffee ceremony is considered a mark of friendship or respect and is an excellent example of Ethiopian hospitality. Don't be in a hurry though, this special ceremony can take a few hours, so sit back and enjoy because it is definitely not instant. Ethiopian homage to coffee is sometimes ornate and always beautifully ceremonial. The ceremony is usually conducted by one young woman dressed in a traditional Ethiopian costume of a white dress with colored woven borders. The long involved process starts with the ceremonial apparatus being arranged on a bed of long scented grasses. The roasting of the coffee beans is done in a flat pan over a tiny charcoal stove, the pungent smell mingling with the heady scent of incense that is always burned during the ceremony. When the coffee beans have turned black and shining and the aromatic oil is coaxed out of them, they are ground by a pestle and long-handled mortar. The coffee is slowly stirred into the clay coffee pot locally known as a jabina, which is round at the bottom with a straw lid. Gracefully pouring a thin golden stream of coffee into each little cup from a height of 1 foot without interruption requires years of practice. Often the coffee is complemented by a traditional snack such as popcorn, peanuts, or cooked barley. The youngest child is then sent out to announce when the coffee is to be served and stands ready to bring a cup first to the eldest in the room. In a world where time has long become a commodity, the Ethiopian coffee ceremony takes us back to a time when value was given to conversation and human relations. Perhaps an ancient proverb best describes the place of coffee in Ethiopian life. Buna dabana, which when translated means, coffee is our bread. Coffee holds a sacred place in Ethiopia. Just the growing and picking process of coffee involves over 12 million Ethiopians and produces over two-thirds of the country's earnings. The best Ethiopian coffee may be compared with the finest coffee in the world, and premium washed Arabica beans fetch some of the highest prices on the world market.
The Ethiopian National Museum is famous for the 3 million-year-old skeleton of Lucy, the oldest humanoid that has ever been found. Archaeologists named her for the Beatles song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which played often in the celebrations that followed her discovery. Though not a sacred relic in the traditional sense, this ancient humanoid naturally prompts reflections on what it means to be human, a question fundamental to any religious or spiritual outlook. Lucy was found by Donald Johnson and Tom Gray on November 24, 1974, at Hadar. After 2 weeks of careful excavation, 40% of a single humanoid skeleton had been discovered. Lucy's skeleton has been dated to just under 3.18 million years old, making her the oldest humanoid ever discovered. Unfortunately, the real Lucy can't be seen in Addis Ababa. Because of the rare and fragile nature of fossils, including Lucy's skeleton, molds are usually made of the originals, which are then used to create detailed copies. The real Lucy is stored in a specially constructed safe in the museum. What we see is a replica skeleton laid out by itself in pieces, showing the 40% that was discovered. Also on display is a fascinating reconstructed full skeleton of Lucy that shows her height and stance. When she was alive, Lucy would have been about 3.5 feet tall and weighed about 60 to 65 pounds.
The Blue Nile rises at an altitude of 6,000 feet in the region of Lake Tanya in northwestern Ethiopia, flows south and then west in Ethiopia, and follows the northwestern course in the Sudan before merging at Khartoum with the White Nile to form the Nile proper. The Blue Nile contributes about 2/3 of the water of the Nile. Located on Lake Tanya is a selection of Ethiopian Christian monasteries, which are found on some 20 of Lake Tanya's 37 islands. Most of the monasteries date from the 16th and 17th century and have changed little since their foundings. They are simple huts decorated with colorful scenes from the Bible and lives of the saints. Many have beautiful mural paintings and church crosses, and some house crowns and cloths of former kings.
Linger a while in the shade of a tree. Throw away your troubles, dream with me. Up a lazy river where the robin song wakes the morning. We roll along, maybe blue skies above. Everyone's in love. Up a lazy river, how happy we'll be. Up a lazy river with me. Up a lazy river.
These boats are called tankwas, which are papyrus canoes made by the lakeside people called the Wuito. The boats appear dangerously fragile, but they continue to carry passengers and goods to and from the many islands of the lake.
Located 750 kilometers north of Addis Ababa is Gondor, Africa's Camelot. It was the fourth capital of Ethiopia, founded in 1635 by Emperor Fasilides, and it lasted for 200 years. Although its importance decreased after the middle of the 19th century, its famous castles and imperial buildings remain one of Ethiopia's most fascinating sights. Felicias are a native Jewish sect of Ethiopia. The origin of the Felicias is unknown. One Felicia tradition claims to trace their ancestry to Menelik, son of King Solomon of Israel and the Queen of Sheba. Some scholars place the date of their origin before the 2nd century BC. Most were airlifted to Israel between 1984 and 1990. Nearly all or more than 14,000 Felicias remaining in Ethiopia were evacuated by the Israeli government in May of 1991. The Debre Bahan Selassie Church in Gondor is famed for its beautiful examples of Ethiopian church art. Built by an emperor and preserved by an archangel, it is also among the most important churches of Ethiopia. Debre Bahan was built by Emperor Yasu II in the 17th century. It was named Debre Bahan, Mountain of Light, after the emperor's nickname. When the dervishes of Sudan sacked the city of Gondor in 1888, they burned down every church in the city except Debre Bahan. According to the local legend, when the soldiers approached the church, a swarm of bees descended on the compound of the church and kept the soldiers back, and the archangel Michael himself stood before the large wooden gates
gates with a flaming sword drawn. The outside of Debre Bahan is rather plain, but its interior has made it one of Ethiopia's top tourist attractions. Paintings on the walls depict biblical scenes and saints, and the ceiling is covered with the faces of hundreds of angels. Icons of the Holy Trinity and the crucifixion have pride of place above the entrance to the Holy of Holies. The walls are covered with paintings. It is the who's who of saints and sinners. Emperor Ieyasu, not a saint, but is painted in since he was paying the bills. The ceiling has faces of 112 angels, including Ieyasu, no two of which is alike. The Simien Mountain Massif is one of the major highlands of Africa, rising to the highest point in Ethiopia, Ras Dahan at 15,000 feet, which is the fourth highest peak in the continent. The park was created primarily to protect the wily ibex, a type of wild goat, and over 1,000 are said to live in the park. Also in the park are families of Galata baboons and the rare Simian fox. The Simian fox, although named after the mountains, is rarely seen. Over 50 species of birds have been reported in the Simien Mountains. The Galata baboon is a species of Old World monkey found only in Ethiopian highlands, with a large populations in the Simien Mountains. It is largely terrestrial, spending much of its time foraging in grasslands. The Galata lives in small harems consisting of one male, several females, and their offspring. These smaller bands often join together to feed, forming groups of upwards of 350 individual monkeys. At especially good feeding spots, groups in excess of 670 individuals have been observed.
I came downstairs and what could be worse? The monkeys was doing a crazy dance. They put buggies in my underpants. I don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
Don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
Monkeys dance, then I dance too.
Don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
I ran outside to get a stick, but I'm telling you friends, those monkeys was quick. Cause when I returned, much to my disgrace, those monkeys had the nurse in a mad embrace.
I don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do. For a nickel I'll give you a clue. I didn't know your eyes
to say the monkeys won't do.
Yes, sir! Woo!
Oh, let that thing.
I went to me bath for a shower and shave. The monkey's gonna put me into my grave. The entire bathroom was laid to waste, and they shaved my head with minty toothpaste. I don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
Don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
They is crazy nuts, so I'm telling you.
Don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
Well, by this time I was feeling dread. They was using a shoe brush to shine me head. I asked them to leave, but they stayed around. They pulled the chain and me, I went down. I don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
Don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do.
Call my lawyer, I'm ready to sue.
Don't know what to say, the monkeys won't do. Yes, sir, brother!
Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. One for the master and one for the dame, and one for the little boy who lives down the lane. Baba, 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 baba. Baba, 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 baba. Baba, 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 baba. Baba, 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 baba. Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. One for the master and one for the dame, and one for the little boy who lives down the lane.
Axum is the oldest city in Ethiopia and the holiest city of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Its half-buried remnants of temples, fortresses, and rich palaces make this Ethiopia's most historic site, and a place that for over a millennium has been the principal center of Ethiopian Christianity. Axum was well known to Greek traders as a fine city and also as the center of a considerable empire. Axum became the capital of the far-reaching Axumite kingdom, which dominated the vital crossroads of Africa and Asia for almost 1,000 years. Its principal building, the Church of St. Mary of Zion, is where, according to Ethiopian legend, the Ark of the Covenant resides, within a special sanctuary chapel. The rectangular old church, seen on the right, is a remarkable example of traditional architecture and was built by the Emperor Fasilides, the founder of Gondor, in 1665. On the left is the carefully guarded chapel in the church compound said to contain the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant cannot be seen by anyone but the High Priest of Axum, an elderly and especially holy monk who is charged with its care and preservation for life. He cannot leave the small yard that surrounds the chapel, and is expected to name his successor on his deathbed. The present custodian with this privilege and burden is named Abba Tesfa Miriam. The huge new church of St. Mary of Zion was built in the 1960s.
Next to the church compound is the northern stele field, which contains more than 120 stele made of smooth gray stone. Dating from around 3 to 500 AD, most of the Axum stele seem to predate the arrival of Christianity to Ethiopia. Their purpose is almost certainly religious, but the details are not known for certain. Stelae was most likely funeral monuments for Axum's ancient rulers, who may have been buried in tombs beneath them. Some have altars at the base with grooves cut into them to carry away blood from sacrifices. The stelae is each made of a single piece of granite and stand as high as 82 feet. All the Axum stelae face south and so watch the sun in its daily journey across the sky. The second largest of the stelae was looted by Mussolini's troops in 1937 during his occupation of Ethiopia and stood for decades in Rome near the Arch of Constantine. The 160-ton monument was finally returned from Italy to Axum in April 2005. It was shipped in an extra-large plane in 3 separate pieces at a cost of almost $8 million. The transportation company who carried out the task said it was the largest and heaviest structure ever transported by air. UNESCO is now in the process of rebuilding it. The largest obelisk, 108 feet long, has fallen and lays shattered across the ground, allowing a close-up inspection of the carvings. If it were still standing, it would be the tallest obelisk in the world. It may have fallen as soon as it was erected, representing the visible results of a trial and error in creating giant upright stelae. According to legend, it covers the grave of the Queen of Sheba. The tallest upright obelisk is the one recently returned from Rome, which stands at 82 feet in height. The now second tallest is the stele of King Izana, which stands at the entrance to the field. Izana was the first king to convert to Christianity, and he declared his entire country for Christianity after his conversion. The Axum stele is made to look like buildings and is intricately carved with windows, rows of log ends dividing each story, and a false door at the base. These motifs on the face are carried through on the short side of the obelisks. The apex of each stele is carved into a semicircular shape which symbolizes the heavens. Scholars believe a metal plate with an image of the sun engraved inside a crescent moon was affixed to the front of these top semicircles. It may be that the stele related to the worship of the sun god, or these ancient worshippers hoped to draw energy down from the sky through these giant monuments. Another tradition, popular with the locals, is that the stelae are phallic symbols and relate to fertility. Lalibela, a World Heritage Site, undoubtedly ranks among the greatest religious historical sites in the Christian world. An ancient world including 11 magnificent medieval rock-hewn churches, dimly lit passageways, hidden crypts and grottos was carved down into the red volcanic rock underlying this remote Ethiopian town almost a millennia ago. Lalibela is the center of pilgrimage for many Ethiopian Orthodox Christians. Scholars and local tradition believe that the churches date from around Lalibela's reign in the 12th or 13th century. However, the buildings are so different from each other in style, craftsmanship, and state of preservation that they may have spanned a longer period than Lalibela's reign. Lalibela's rock-hewn churches are remarkable for 3 main reasons. Because many are not carved into the rock but freed entirely from it, because the buildings are so refined, and because there are so many within a small area. The churches are divided into 2 clusters, separated by the River Jordan. The eastern 7 churches were mostly excavated from below ground. Several are monoliths, which means free from the surrounding rock. The western cluster was mostly excavated from vertical rock face by exploiting existing caves or cracks in the rock. Resembling a massive Greek temple more than a traditional Ethiopian church, Bet Badhani Alam Savior of the world, is impressive for its size and majesty. It is said to be the largest rock-hewn church in the world. Some scholars have suggested that this church may have been a copy in rock of the original St. Mary of Zion in Axum. The building is surrounded by 34 large rectangular columns. The three joined at each corner are thought to represent the Holy Trinity. Pierced stone panels fill the windows, each decorated with different central crosses. Connected to Bet Medhani Alam by a tunnel is a large courtyard containing three churches. The first, Bet Mariam, is small, yet designed and decorated to an exceptionally high standard. Dedicated to the Virgin, who's particularly venerated in Ethiopia, this is the most popular church among pilgrims. Some believe it may have been the first church built by Lalibela. On its eastern wall are two sets of three windows. According to scholars, the upper set is thought to represent the Holy Trinity, while the lower three, set below the small cross-shaped window, are believed to represent the crucifixion of Jesus and the two sinners. The lower right window has a small, irregular-shaped opening above it, a signal that this sinner was accepted to heaven after repenting his sins and asking for Jesus' help. The lower left window, which represents the criminal who mocked Jesus, was sentenced to hell, has the small, irregular-shaped opening below it. In the western section is Bet Abba Labanos, hewn into the rock face, and is unique among Lalibela's churches, in that only the roof and floor remains attached to the strata. The church is said to have been constructed in a single night by Lalibela's wife, Meskel Kebra, with a little help from angels. The church seems to grow from the rock and gives you a vivid idea of the work required to excavate these churches. The isolated monolith of Bet Georgius is the most majestic of all of Lalibela's churches. Like the churches of the eastern cluster, it is excavated below ground level in a sunken courtyard, enclosed by precipitous walls. The most remarkable feature of this church is that it is carved in the shape of a symmetrical cruciform tower. The story is that St. George, was so offended that none of the churches at Lalibela were dedicated to him that he personally visited King Lalibela. The king responded by promising that he would build the finest of all churches for St. George. St. George apparently supervised the execution of this work in person, as attested to the fact that the monks today show the hoofprints of his horse to visitors. Until the Nazis used the swastika, it was used by many cultures throughout the past 3,000 years to represent life, sun, power, strength, and good luck. The priests wear sunglasses to protect their eyes from the camera flashes. When we toured the churches, we were not allowed to wear shoes. Thus we brought along with us what we called church socks. At the entrance, a young boy helped us remove our shoes and put on the socks. When we exited, he helped us again to take off the socks and put on the shoes. He of course received a nice tip at the end of the tour.
In ancient times, most Ethiopians could neither read nor write. Thus, most of the biblical stories were told in the form of pictures. The manuscripts also contain illustrations of many of the biblical stories.
በደረቅ ጉሮሮ ልብን በሚነካው በዜማ እንድኩሮ በትልቋ ዜማች ለትንሹ ኖሮ እንጃለኝን
Harar is an ancient city in eastern Ethiopia. It has been a very religious city from the early days of the expansion of Islam in Ethiopia. It is the spiritual heart of Ethiopia's large Muslim community and is considered by Muslims to be the fourth holiest city in the world. It was an important center of Muslim trade and learning throughout the 17th and 18th century, and it remains strongly Muslim in character. Its 90 mosques, many of them private, are said to form the largest concentration of mosques in the world. Walking through the streets of Harar, one feels transported back in time. The high stone walls of the city, pierced with 5 gates and topped by 25 towers, the flat-roofed houses, and the exquisite mosques all give the impression of having wandered into a city from the Arabian Nights. A typical Harari home, called a gegar, has a unique design. They are all solid and square, behind walls in a small compound. The first floor is open and is dominated by a carpet-draped raised area of different heights, where social activity takes place. The use of these different levels determines the status of the guests and household members. They have a large sitting area for socializing over coffee or cat. They have loads of colorful baskets and Chinese platters on the wall. They are focused on marriage. There is a rack over the front door which holds a valuable rug or rugs which are the dowry for the eligible young lady in the house. They have a room near the entrance which is kept for newlyweds who are expected to get acquainted through being kept there for a week after their marriage. Feeding hyenas in Harar is a century-old practice. The hyena man starts calling the hyenas by name, and after about 10 minutes the animals appear, coming down from the surrounding hills. The hyenas then eat the meat they are fed, even going so far as to take the meat directly from the mouth of the hyena man. Although this may sound like an odd thing to do, it is actually extremely interesting, even though no one seems to have a clear picture of the origins of this bizarre practice. Our guide told us that one theory is that the villagers started this practice to stop the hyenas from coming down from the village to steal their animals and children.
ጫልቱ አልመጣችም?
I thank you for joining us on this trip to ancient and interesting Ethiopia. Hope you can join us in viewing some of our other trips.